Hey, welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. Lots of love and many blessings your way. Everything in my video was found on a public domain. Buckingham Palace released a statement in Prince Andrew's defense not too long ago. This relates to proceedings in the United States to which the Duke of York is not a party. Any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors is categorically untrue, and any claim to the contrary is false and without foundation. Now hear what I'm about to say. This blows my mind. The whistleblower Virginia said that her count is 99% true, but her own lawyers have described it as fictionalized. Proof they all stick together, and you don't have to tell me. I have first-hand experience. At the age of 17, this girl Virginia, the victim, met Prince Andrew through Epstein and Maxwell at a party in London. Several years ago, she reported this, and they just laughed at her, shut the door in her face, and dismissed her. There are 92 pages in Epstein's Lil Black Book, and here are some names: David Blaine, Tony Blair, Alec Baldwin, Mike Bloomberg, Samantha Boardman, Jill Blacker, Serena Boardman, Johnny and Sophie Bowden, Daniel Baldini, Edward something, I can't pronounce that, Annabelle Bond, Andrea Bonimi, Michael Barrico, Paulo Borghese, Christina Booth, Mark and Lauren Booth, Nicholas Bookus, Flavio Briatore, and if you're not familiar with that name, that happens to be the ex-boyfriend of Naomi Campbell. In fact, the party that Virginia met Andrew at with Maxwell and Epstein happened to have been Naomi's party, and Flavio was there. Flavio, he was there. Richard Branson, Julia Broadhurst, Edgar Bronfman Jr. Sounds familiar? Christopher Brooks, Miranda Brooks, Chris and Allison Brown, James Bruce, Lucinda Bruce, Joan Juliet Buck, Jimmy Buffett, heartbreak, Bartle Bull, Hamish Below, Martin Betrayal, Mr. Jules Burney, here we go, Ron Burkle, Naomi Campbell, Charlie Butler, Nikki Caledon, somebody named Gammy, let's see, Nicholas Candy, Andrew Candoli, Brooke Del Campo, Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos, Lucy Clive, Courtney Love, Phil Collins, Michael Jackson. However, he was slick enough to have his attorney sign in for him. The Duke and Duchess of York, my gosh, combined there's at least 35 phone numbers for them. Ambassador Fairweather, Natasha Fairweather, Catherine Fairweather, Chris Evans, Chris Tucker, Angie Everhart, David Faber, Sally Faber, Steve Forbes, Chris Forbes, Zandy Forbes, Tom Ford and Richard Buckley, Steve Forbes, Chris Forbes, Zandy Forbes, Mook Flick, Nacho Gasper, Esteban Ganoza, Mr. David and Lady Frost, Cosmo Fry, It Never Ends, Nick Jones, Ron Burkle, Richard Caring. Together, those three men own Soho House Group Limited. Marcus Anderson. Listen, there are so many people in here, and I'm talking, they are law enforcement, judges, lawyers, teachers, professors, scientists galore, actors, actresses, musicians, teachers, nurses, doctors, ambassadors, senators. You get my drift? Every sort of authority and top dog in New Mexico, and in Florida most definitely. Tom Hanks, Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, Jeb Bush, George W. Bush, Bill and Hillary Clinton, Bill Barr. And that's exactly how he got away with it, except he had a little bit of extra help, and I want to tell you about that right now. Initially, This video was going to go a totally different direction. I was going to have a different layout. I was going to talk about something else. But yesterday when I was digging around, I came across an article on page 6. It blew my mind. And this is how Epstein and all of his minions are able to get away with everything. Epstein's trafficking ring was a blackmail operation sanctioned by the Israeli government and done with the full blessing of the U.S. government. Even with Brofman money backing him, a nobody like Keith Raniere couldn't pull off a sophisticated operation like this, since neither he nor the people under him were all that smart. I knew this was sanctioned under the Israeli government. I had no idea that our U.S. government gave a full blessing. I guess I shouldn't be shocked or surprised. Both of my parents retired military. I was in the military my entire life. They retired when I was 20 and 21. Our entire lives revolved around the base, my brothers and I. And I see how ill-treated my parents are after giving their entire life to the military, to our government. Their health insurance isn't worth the paper it's printed on. It's a sad shame, the entire ordeal. But this isn't just a blackmail operation. We're talking sex trafficking, human trafficking. Children are involved. And the U.S. government evidently knew about this and continued to give a full blessing. I find that a huge problem. Now, had it been somebody underground pulling some sort of low-level, trafficking, be it drugs, humans, coffee, whatever, they would totally shoot that joker on sight, and you know that's the truth. This isn't the first time that our government's been involved in something like this, and that's another video for another day, but we'll talk about it. Janice Dickinson, a huge Me Too mover, is good friends with Madam G, as is Lizzie Cundy. Two employees who worked at the local airstrip on St. Thomas told Vanity Fair that they witnessed Epstein boarding his private plane on multiple occasions in the company of girls who appeared to be under the age of consent. According to the employees, the girls arrived with Epstein on board one of his 2 Gulfstream jets. Now that was between January 2018 and June of 2019. Previously published flight records show the jets were airborne at least 1 out of every 3 days. That's how fast they were moving them. They stopped all over the world, sometimes for only a few hours at a time. Paris, London, Slovakia, Mexico, Morocco. When they left St. Thomas, the employees say they returned to airports near Epstein's homes in Palm Beach and New York City. On multiple occasions, I saw Epstein exit his helicopter, stand on the tarmac in full view of my tower, and board his private jet with children, female children, says a former air traffic controller at the airstrip who asked to remain anonymous. One incident in particular really stands out in my mind because the girls were just so young. They couldn't have been over 16. Epstein looked very angry. He hurled his jacket at one of them. They were also carrying shopping bags from stores not on the island. I remember thinking, where in the world have they been shopping? Now here's my question to this airstrip fella. Why didn't he tell? Why didn't he speak up? And according to another employee at the airstrip who requested to be anonymous, of course, because he's not allowed to speak about travelers in his official capacity, he said Epstein would land at St. Thomas twice a month. There'd be girls that looked like they could have been in high school. They looked very young. They were always wearing college sweatshirts. It seemed like camouflage. That's just the best way to put it. Epstein would be dressed in a tracksuit, but the girls, they carried shopping bags from designer labels, Gucci, Dior. He adds that he and his co-workers would joke around about what they were saying. How funny is that, and how pathetic and despicable are they? And it gets worse. According to this employee, he and his co-workers would joke around about what they were saying. So funny. Every time he landed or took off, It was always brought up. We'd always be joking. How many kids are on board this time? But the employee also says he felt pure disgust, calling it absolutely insane that a convicted sex offender was able to move around so openly in the era of Me Too. I could see him with my own eyes, the employee says. I compared it to seeing a serial killer in broad daylight. I called it the face of evil. No, you didn't, bruh. No, you didn't. You would have picked that damn phone up and you would have reported him, you half-witted idiot. And he went on to say that the fact that the young girls were getting in and out of his helicopter and getting into his plane, it was like he was flaunting it in our faces. But it was said that he was always tipped really well, so everyone just overlooked it. Money, money, money. Everybody you're seeing across the screen is everybody that has spent time with Epstein. On his property, in his jet, at his homes. And they certainly wasn't hanging out with him because, he was loaded. It seems they're loaded too. According to a veteran police officer of the Virgin Islands Police Department, he told Vanity Fair that he doesn't know who Epstein is. He's unaware of any investigation. Samuel Saines, a former senator for the Virgin Islands, says he's unaware of any special precautions taken by law enforcement to track the arrivals and departures of Epstein's jets on St. Thomas, or the movements of his helicopter to and from his private island. Keep in mind, Samuel Saines and Chief William Harvey are two names on file with Epstein, either his black book or one of his logs. Now, according to page 6, the blonde who accused pervert billionaire Jeffrey Epstein of turning her into a teenage sex slave and forcing her to sleep with his powerful pals, claims in new court records that a major cover-up is protecting the convicted sex offender. You think? According to Virginia Roberts, she said, because nothing's being done, nothing's gonna be done, it makes me think Epstein was right when he told me he had so many people in his pocket. Maybe those people are still helping him escape being prosecuted for what he did against me. And she went on to list all sorts of powerful names, including Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. She was forced to sleep with Prince Andrew 3 times. She's never slept with Bill Clinton. I'm not too shocked about that. History has shown and proved that he likes brunettes over blondes. Okay, so Epstein said that he knew people that were very powerful and who were politically involved, and that consequently, he was someone you just didn't want to mess with. Okay, so Epstein's island is so disgusting and so nasty, and the FBI spent very little time there. In fact, these pictures you're looking at, and a YouTube influencer was lucky enough to be flying his drone around at the same time that the FBI were raiding the place. I hesitate to say raiding because that's just not what it appeared to be. I'm not going to list the details of the things that took place on this island because even though I cannot stand the term trigger, it is very triggering and quite disturbing, and I don't want to be responsible for anybody's mental instability or, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to cause anybody any kind of mental anguish or grief or bring them back to some place that they'd rather not go. Everything I found out was so disturbing and so young. These girls are so young, far younger than 16. It was so bad that authorities should want to be the hero for these people that have been victimized. But they're not going to do anything, in my opinion, because they're all involved. I pray that somebody with some courageous spirit, a brave soul, will step up and do the right thing towards these people, these children, these young girls. I wanted to start with this video just to sort of get the conversation going. This will be the first of a few, I'm sure. I want to show you guys how this puts all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's really starting to make sense to me now as far as Meghan in the royal family. Unbelievable how these people work. Everything that I can find out, it shows that Prince Andrew and Meghan are not strangers to each other, nor were they leading up to her relationship with Harry. Now rumor has it that Madam G is more than likely deceased. How many of you guys believe that, really? And these pictures of Prince Andrew with this thing here, they're trying to say these pictures were photoshopped. And I can tell you they're 100% authentic. In fact, the entire family can make as many excuses as they want to because they have the funds, the resources to get away with lying to people. But this is not the first time one of the royal family members have been involved with a pedophile. It seems you are the company you keep. And every time I turn around, Prince Charles is linked with a pedophile. Now, what is that about? For example, Jimmy Savile, whatever, was super tight with Prince Charles and the Queen and the rest of the family. It has since been discovered that this man assaulted so many people between the ages of 5 and 75, using hospitals as platforms to sexually assault his victims. Not only that, but he was a necrophiliac. He's bragged about that. Now these days, it seems he's swimming in a lava pit in hell. But during his 50-year career as a media personality, known for his eccentric ways, I'll say, he took teetotal advantage of the sick, the elderly, and the young, and the handicapped, and the dead, as it's been determined as a result of an investigation. He and the royal family were thick as thieves, you guys. Birds of a feather flock together. Prince Charles acted as if he would take a bullet for this bishop, Reverend Peter Ball, who has since been outed for all sorts of criminal sexual abuse on children. I'm nosy. I'd really like to know how many tax dollars were spent on a friendly relationship with these pedophiles from the royal family. It's an absolute shame, and we'll talk further about that in the future. I've talked enough, you guys. I thank you for listening. If you made it this far, bless your little hearts. I'll see you soon, and we'll talk fast. You guys stay safe and be blessed.